How many of us have had a conversation about periods in the last 1 month? If you've talked to me, it doesn't count. And not the grammar kind, the menstruation kind. Awesome. It's a little awkward, isn't it? Why is this? After all, it's the healthiest thing in the world. Periods mean we're in the prime of our life. The menstrual cycle is the reason we're all here on this planet. I suppose we think we can just manage it and get on with our lives. But the reality is that for the majority of women in the world, they can't manage it. And for girls, they can't get on with their life. I'm not moving forward. There we go. Okay. For 4 in 5 girls and women across East Africa alone, pads and related health education are out of reach. What this means is without sanitary pads, girls can't concentrate in the classroom, and they often stay home from school. Without health education, girls can't make informed decisions. And as a result, almost 1 in 2 girls in Kenya, their first sexual encounter is unwanted. You can see how this combination constricts their future life outcomes. The very good news is that life outcomes expand when girls get pads and health education. We've seen girls move into the top of their class, and we've seen entire schools move up in the top of their county's ranking. When we interview girls, they say they're not only able to manage their periods better, but they're better able to negotiate negative peer pressure. When we ask girls how they feel about getting sanitary pads and health education, one girl said very shyly, she said, "I feel like the whole world loves me." Another girl, she said, "It makes me proud to be a girl, and it makes us equal to boys in the classroom." Isn't that great? I was privileged to be a PopTech fellow back in 2011, and I wanted to share with you 3 ways we've had impact since then in innovating pads, innovating health education, and innovating community connectedness. First, we set out to make pads from agricultural waste materials on large-scale machines, and we did it. We literally went from a blender in a kitchen in Cambridge to a pulping plant in Ohio to a pad production facility in Nairobi, Kenya. We have a product and process innovation that works, and we're looking for grants now to transition that to scale. In the meantime, we've created a brand, Nia, which means purpose. It's actually the first African woman on a pad brand. It resonates deeply with girls. In our first year of commercial sales, we're reaching 20,000 girls and women every month. But pads aren't enough. So the second innovation is that related health education, which simply put means answering girls' questions. So we started by asking 12-year-olds, "What questions do you have?" And they told us everything. First, they have questions about basic biology. "I'm getting pimples and I smell, please help me." To, "What is menstruation? What is vaginal discharge?" To, but you haven't heard that on a stage before. To really serious questions about relationships. One of them, "Why do boys neglect you once they know you have their pregnancy?" Yes, why do boys neglect you once they know you have their pregnancy? They know you have your pregnancy. To really other questions like, "My boyfriend's pressurizing me to have sex and I don't want to. What do I do?" To the ones that really hurt my heart in different permutations, which is basically, when a girl is raped and she reports it, why does nothing happen? So we set out to get answers to those girls, and we asked them how they wanted those answers. And the result was comics, fun, aspirational, and something they can hold on to in a world where they have very few things of their own. It worked. In our first very short 12 comics, we saw 65% knowledge retention and 98% sharing records. But as we listened longer to girls, we learned that they wanted longer narratives and they wanted more resources around those narratives. So we said, okay, what does around mean? And we realized we were creating a magazine. Imagine if your textbook were reinvented as a fun magazine that you got at the beginning of every term. This resource is really girl-wrought. It's forged from 4,000 girls' input over the last 4 years. The first 5 episodes will go through the entire UNESCO Comprehensive Sexuality Education curriculum, which is really the gold standard in health education. The last thing we've been doing, the third and last, is to layer in safe people onto these resources for girls. We've been working with 14 community-based organizations in some of the deepest pockets of poverty over the last 3 years to serve 10,000 girls every month with pads, underwear, and health education. And we come together to share our insights. Soon we're going to be starting to have community conversations to reactivate the best of rites of passage so that we can reconnect boys and girls back into conversations across generations and reconnect them with the best of their culture. Next year, thanks to the Gates Foundation, we're going to start to conduct a 2-year randomized control trial to really test out our full theory of change of how sanitary pads and related health education work together synergistically to amplify outcomes in school metrics and health education and safety. This will have global impact, we hope, for what works at scale in measurable ways. And as you see here, the world needs measurable results at scale. What you see is that in most countries, half of the population is in their 20s or younger. And in fact, in the next 14 years, 1/4 of the world's population is going to start puberty. Think about that for just a second. If we don't help them stay in school and safely navigate adolescence, we're sunk. But I hope that you've heard from me today that there is tremendous hope. In conclusion, one of the things I've realized that we're really doing is not just making pads, not just innovating in health education, not just creating community connectedness. We're really creating a movement. And we're creating a movement for all girls and women, for us to have a powerful and positive connection to our bodies and to each other, so that we can step boldly into the promise of our future. And I invite you, wherever you are on your own journey, to join this movement. Have a conversation with your partner about periods. Answer an adolescent's question, who you know in your life. And together, let's raise a generation of leaders that we know this world needs. Asanteni, thank you very much.